welcome to the Mayor May 8th meeting. At this time, we'd like to have our education. Let's pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you that once again we have the opportunity to come together and thank you for this business. Lord, as always, we ask you to speak with us as we hear information. Help us to do what is truly in the best interest of all of us. Thank you for all of those who are present today, and we ask safe travel to everyone who is Saturday. And we pray these things in prayer. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under new business, the proclamation to honor Ms. Julia Ellison on her 100th birthday. We'd like to move that right under the department head. And Karen, I think today that is right now for you to get on.
Yes, we have some retirement hearings that are coming up. And those meetings that we're
All those in favor, anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. All right, hopefully the board has had a chance to look at the minutes from the April 23rd meeting, our regular meeting. Can I get a motion that we accept the minutes?
Madam Chair, I move we accept as read.
Okay, and can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second that we accept the minutes as presented. Can I get a vote? All in favor?
I'm abstaining.
And anyone abstain? Okay, thank you. All right. At this time, we're moving on to our municipal comments. So, City Mayor Glover.
Thank you. I don't have really anything to report. I just want to thank the county for the assistance they gave us this past, well, the other weekend, and for everything there over the city of Chiefs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners as well as especially the public works.
Thank you so much. Any other municipalities? I don't want to overlook anyone. I don't see anyone. Okay, thank you. Moving on to our Constitution officers. And I don't see anyone here today as well. All right. Our next item will be our department heads.
Madam Chairman, Ms. Jane is not with us this morning. Her sister has been sick and is in the hospital, and I was asked to pass that on to the board.
Thank you for letting us know. Let's keep Ms. Jane and her family in our prayers. Thank you. All right, I know we've got some departments head here, so you want me to call you up? Thank you, Skip. Brand, let's go in order.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
We do it.
I just wanted to real quick let y'all know, some of y'all know I am kind of working on a new website, redesigning it, and show it to y'all just where we're at right now. Hoping to have this done by June, but I just want to kind of get y'all's input. and not cluttered. That's what we're going for.
That screen looks a little cluttered.
What's that?
I said the screen looks a little cluttered. All the options on it.
You can see the court out.
Yeah.
Is it-
That's Board of Commissioners there. What I need from y'all, if you care to, is maybe a little something, statement or something,
A little bio.
maybe kind of give you guys your own page or space or what have you. See where it says say a little. That's just kind of if you know, whatever you want to put on there. But basically what I need is input. I mean, you know, just things that you guys have seen at other places and so forth. I'm one person trying to, you know, of course we can carry over what we have on the other site, but, you know, there's a lot more that we could have on there.
So this is gonna be the main website for the county. What are the options on there that you had as far as access on the front page?
Back to the one page. As far as,
I can't read some of it.
well, those are just, like, you see where it says heading to, those are just place markers right now. That's gonna be stuff like where it says employment opportunities, maybe bid opportunities.
I do like how that is with the different colors because it does make it stand out for each individual one like that, so you gotta notice it instead of just regular black and white.
Yeah, you know, and the thing about it is too, is I'm trying to do something maybe a little bit different than everybody around us, but, you know, for the most part, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, we're just trying to have a good, vibrant, informative website.
I appreciate all the work that you're doing on this, Brent. Is there a calendar on there so that not only be what the county is doing, but also other cities, and will there be a link
That's
so
something
that if they wanted to go to Lucasville, they can hit that link, it'll take them to their site if they have something of that nature? And what about, and also thank you for putting the information up about the resurfacing of the roads in the county. That's very helpful because we do refer people to use that.
Bill call for. Fortunately, we did put it up there just to make sure that, you know, and we're trying to keep people up to date because if, you know, if you don't give people information, and you know this as a journalist, if you don't give people information, they'll make up their own.
Yes.
You know,
Well, you know, digital marketing and having a platform to keep people informed is very needed in every aspect, in government as well and private. So we appreciate all that you're bringing to the county.
well, like you said, anything that we can do to put it, I mean, we're actually fairly fortunate. This is kind of where it levels the playing field between us and other counties that have media outlets and so forth is, you know, we're actually able to communicate with our citizens and our public, you know, things going on and so forth. I was watching the video last meeting, I'm trying to reduce the numbers of times I say, so,
The other thing I do want to bring to the attention of those who are here and those who are watching the video is that when you have some concerns about roads, we do have a link where you can go in and put that information in, and it's very, very helpful.
that's one thing that I'm putting right here on the front. You'll look at that right here, just can you scroll down just a little bit? Right there. So, I mean, people go to, they're gonna see the meetings, they can click on the meetings. Right now, we do have it, I mean, on the front, it's just a smaller button on the right-hand side, and then a stack of buttons, but sometimes, you know, Brian made a comment about he liked the fact they're different colors. Well, yeah, because sometimes you lose what's on those buttons at glance. It being all same colors and sizes and things like that. So, read a couple articles, sort of.
The other thing I do want to ask is, we had mentioned that once people put in a request for their roads, that there's a way that the county, there's a response to let them know that you received, that the county received it. Have we been able to implement that yet?
That would probably be an offline conversation that we could have.
Okay.
As far as, yes, in short, there is, but it's going to take some people doing a little extra to
Okay.
do that.
Go ahead and scroll down, Brent, and let me see how you showcase this wall
The wall
of the courthouse.
I don't have that part on there. I can.
Brent, you go back and get that on there.
That's just how the picture laid when I put it in there, but yeah, we can do that. That's
Let's
just,
do that.
matter of fact, I mean, you know, yeah, we can do that.
That's all I have to say.
All right.
Is that a drone picture?
It is.
It's wrong.
Thank you so much. Looks good.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Public Works,
I don't have anything to say.
Bill?
Staying real busy trying to put together a strategy on repairing lots of washout roads, getting material, talk to that, working on a little line out on the 88, overlook parking and sidewalk there at Lake Maryland. Other than that, it's very busy.
Mr. Gabe, will you later on discuss what GDOT is able to present to us regarding the washout roads and what type of assistance we may be able to get?
Yes, ma'am. We'll talk about that in just a little while.
Thank you. All right.
I don't have anything.
You down?
I don't.
All right. Well, I would like to bring something to the board's attention. I attended the ACC conference a couple of weeks ago in Savannah, and one of the discussion was the new voting machines. So I do want the board to, come back and look at that. There were some things that were brought up regarding the cost and storage of this equipment, so we just want to make sure that we meet all those requirements. So at some point in time, we do need to discuss that.
We've actually, Bill Gregory and myself actually met with Patty and her board last week, and because there's going to be a need for additional space, and I think we're meeting again this week.
Next week.
Next week, I'll get my weeks mixed up to discuss that a little further. So you're exactly right. There's going to have to be a lot of discussion on that.
Right. And in reference to that, from my understanding, the state is going to pay initially for the equipment, but we also want to make sure about the training and all the other costs that may occur that we may not be aware of.
Right. There for a period of time, we're going to have old equipment, new equipment, all
Together.
So.
And having the space to accommodate them is going to be very crucial for us.
And in advance voting as well.
Well, thank you for that. Any other? Hi, Miss Ashley. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm sorry I'm late. I just attended my last club meeting of the year, and we had a donut party, so sorry I'm late. We have a lot going on at 4-H. The onions will be here tomorrow. Please don't come to my office tomorrow, though. We have 6,000 pounds to unload at our office, so give us at least until Friday. We'll be calling you. If you order from our office, we'll be calling you. If you order from a 4-H or they will be calling you. So we have that going on. Our shotgun team, they traveled to Griffith a few weeks ago for the district shotgun match. We had 2 young men to qualify for state, so they'll travel to Rock Eagle this Saturday to compete at the state contest. We had 2 newcomers this year, and it was 2 boys, and they both qualified for state, so we're very proud of them. Our archery team traveled to Rock Eagle 2 weeks ago. Competed at the state archery match, and they all did very well. Their scores improved from the January match, so that's always exciting for us. Camp is still, we're still taking camp applications, so if you have any 4th, 5th, or 6th graders that want to go to summer camp, our junior camp is full. We might squeeze somebody in, but we have met our capacity for junior camp. Junior camp 7th and 8th graders, but keep sending those 4th, 5th, and 6th graders onto us. We have about 30 people, 30 students that have signed up for summer camp. And I got several phone calls last week that you stopped by the extension booth in Savannah, and so some of the 4-H agents sent me a text and said, I just met Shirley Hines. And I was like, well, good, you better tell them how much you like me. But I did get several texts saying that you came by and how pleasant you were to have.
Well, I definitely let them know how much a pleasure it is to have you on board and what a great asset you have been to this county and to promoting our young people in the program, and to understand you have, that's a lot of onions. Is that the largest amount that you all?
It's not. Harris County beat us, but Harris County's a lot bigger than us, so we're gonna beat them next year. I'm not competitive at all.
Actually, did you order extra onions
We
in case anybody wants
We
some?
did, thank you for asking, we did order, in the competitive spirit that I have, I had to order one more bag than we ordered last year, so we do have lots of extras. So if you do, they're $10 for a 10-pound bag. Okay.
You probably get that order today before you leave. All right, Miss Kathy from Planning and Zoning.
I apologize, I was running late as well. I do have some more building permit reports for you. As well as Mr. Gregory had asked for year-to-date numbers. So I'm going to first of all give you those year-to-date numbers. And this is fiscal year, which begins October 1st through April 30th of this year. The total in building permits issued, and I am talking about actual construction, I'm not talking about electricals and things like that. We're looking at $12,971,173. So that is a year-to-date total fiscal year for Marion County. And then I have April's monthly report for you. We have, looks like the north end of the county showing out again. We have a lot of new construction up in that area. This month's total is $1,650,792. So I'm going to give you all these numbers and reports to show which district these actually are in. But as I said, the north end of the county's coming on strong, which we had assumed that would be the case with all of Coweta spilling over. We do have a lot of nice new homes that are on paper, but they're in the process of being constructed. So I'm really excited about our growth and want to keep coming on down. So I do have these copies. Do you mind if I hand them to you and let you pass them down?
I'll try my best.
All right. Ms. Beverly, I do have a copy for you. Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to make sure I didn't overlook anyone else. Fire department. Thanks.
Good morning.
Since people are not jumping up on their own.
Engine 3, we expect to have it repaired and back in service hopefully by the end of this week. We're very close to that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Engine 3's repairs should be finalized at the end of this week. Just want to also let you know that the new trucks are in service, but right now they're kind of being used as backups to do some other repairs to other trucks that we've not been able to do or not have spares to. And we'll be in good shape there. We're anticipating, that's still soon, which should grow before the new truck will go, at least for the foreseeable future. So, slow truck update, and that's about all I have.
Mr. Gay.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor. I mentioned to you and I'll mention to the board that we would like to get a written update on the status of the fire department as far as the equipments and things of that nature.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that we can have a better timeline of everything. Can you share with us, or the chief, when are you going to have your grand opening for the 4 stations? Lone Oak had a soft opening and that was done by the community, but when will all 4 of the stations be ready for a grand opening?
Right, yes, ma'am. And back on the equipment, I talked with the chief yesterday. He's going to put us together a written report on the equipment and where everything stands. We ran into a small problem. It turned out not to be a problem at the Odessa station. When we got ready to, and Bill Calhoun can probably speak to this better than me, but when we got ready to do the pave the A-cell coming off of the turn lane coming off the state, there was some compaction issues in the driveway. The contractor thought that the water line was leaking, but we were not sure it was leaking. We thought it was just water that was trapped because we've been so wet. Everything was dug out, recompacted. We've now had the contractor proper grading did the water line. They've now checked it with, I think, both chlorine, Bill, and pressure tested it, and there's no leak there. So now the contractor is moving forward with setting up that paving, and that should be done.
We'll do another proof roll today.
Do another proof.
And they're going to set up, get the paving contract back.
Okay. So very, very soon. This, weather permitting, maybe this week. bidding on the paving. And then the station should be ready to go. What we really need to do is look at the plan. Would like to get some feedback from the board. Would you guys like to do, since we only did the soft opening on the others, would y'all like to do a opening at each station? And would you like to do that one day, where we could go from station to station, or do you just want to go to a station? And how do y'all want to work that?
What's the pleasure of the board? Discussion on that?
Same day is fine with me.
Same day would be good.
Same day.
And I don't mind going station to station,
Yeah, I think
but doing it all in one day would be good.
I think you're almost gonna have to recognize each station because you want to acknowledge the community.
Well, hopefully that community would come out for that station.
And what we need to do is get the word out and just let everybody know, hey, this will be the day, and invite them. We'll get it scheduled, give us time to take care of one and then move to the other. So we'll work on that, dates and times to get that scheduled here right away.
Tell everybody to have refreshments, we'll do it like a progressive summit.
Go from breakfast to lunch.
Oh, actually, you mentioned this morning donuts, but I didn't see her bring any donuts with her.
But since it's about to be summertime,
Yes.
I think we need to either try it earlier in the morning, so it's not so hot,
Late
or
afternoon.
late in the afternoon to do that, because if not, it's gonna be way too
In
hot.
all actuality, later in the afternoon and evening, it's gonna give more people opportunity to come.
Yeah,
I mean, all folks cannot come
And
during
this,
the day.
day till like 8, so we
Yeah.
can start,
6 o'clock.
middle afternoon or something,
Yeah.
and late afternoon, simple. Nobody drives like you, so you can't get all of
If you do 7 o'clock, I'll be there at 1 of them.
it.
Thank you.
We'll get that set up.
All right, thank you for the update. Kathy, thank you too for your report. Appreciate it. Just make sure I don't look anyone else. I think that's it. All right. There is no need for a public hearing, so at this time, we move the proclamation in new business, the proclamation to honor Miss Julia Ellison on her 100th birthday. All right. It gives me an honor to read this proclamation for her. A proclamation to honor Miss Julia Ellison on her 100th birthday. Whereas Miss Julia Ellison was born to the late Ollie Ellison Turner and the late Bud Fairchild McGee on May the 24th, 1919. And whereas Julia Ellis has a deep love for her family, which includes her children, Shirley J. Young, Jasper Ellis, Iris D. Scott, Ethelene Scott, Jovis F. Scott, Winfred Ellis, and great children, Shonda Scott, Sharetta Glover, Cedric Park, Ross Drake, Derek Scott, April K. Harris, her great-great-grandchildren, Rashonda, Tamia, Kayla, Shakayla, Kiori, Carrison, Carmen, Britanna, Latasha, and Khadidra, her great-great-great-grandchildren, Dan, Kyla, Andrea, and Austin. And whereas Julia Ellis enjoyed baking, gardening, traveling, family outings, serving the Lord, and reminiscing with family and friends about the olden days. As a young woman, she would have to walk to school and to church in all weather conditions. Her father was a cobbler and made sure that she had good shoes. And whereas Julia Ellis joined the Trinity CME Church at the age of 12 and was baptized by Reverend S.A. Dozier, as a member of the church, Miss Ellis served on the usher board, in the choir, as a faithful steward. On February the 12th, 1967, Miss Ellis, along with Reverend R.M. Martin, Trinity CME Church member and friends, marched from the old church to the new church. After the coverstone was laid, they returned to the old church and celebrated with singing and a wonderful meal. And whereas Julia Ellis retired from her long years of service on the steward board but remain actively involved in worship. And now it be proclaimed that the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners to honor Miss Julia Ellison in her celebration of her 100th birthday. And be it proclaimed further that the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners does hereby extend their best wishes to Miss Julia Ellis and her continuous happiness. Looks well on you. Can we all go and get to take pictures with her and rub shoulders or whatever she's doing? And share it with everybody. You don't come on, family. You have your son with you. Bishop, right here. Would you put that leg?
No, we'll sit there.
Let me get all over you.
And I heard, hey baby, and I heard we're having a party for you. Are we?
Anybody else trying to take the other end? I don't know anything. I have to talk to you. You ain't got nothing to do with just get rich.
Well, in that case, be glad you're here today.
And I'm not one of
Not yet. It's on the 24th, right? Well, mine is on the 22nd, so I'm gonna sit, we're gonna be together.
Okay, I can't see. Ma'am?
Come on, you wanna come here?
There you go.
There.
Yeah, come forward, just a little bit, sir.
That's better. Okay. Right. All right, thanks. One time.
Can I get a picture of that proclamation, please?
Happy
Blinded folks. Once again, can we give her a round of applause?
Made something.
Actually saying something.
I wonder if we have, Shirley, I was asking Mary, I wonder if we have a history of the oldest living citizen in Meriwether County ever. Let's find that out.
That would be good to know. I mean, because I know we've done several 90s and 95, so it would be good just, someone wants to champion that, or the paper can go and look in that, and then just to recognize that.
So we can document who is the oldest citizen in Meriwether County. I'll see what we can do. Fun little contest, too.
Yeah. Skip the TV one off.
It'll give me a goal.
I think on that screen, it's not working. All right. Skip. This screen right here is not working. There's no need for a public hearing. So our next item on the agenda is the unfinished business. And item number 1 is the execution of an agreement for the extension of recreation's contract. Mr. Gay, would you go over that with us, please?
Yes, ma'am. At a previous meeting, the board had voted to extend the recreation contract by a period of 3 years to have it end in November 15th, 2023. And this is just a very simple intergovernmental agreement to make that as an addendum. And it's really short and sweet, and what it says is a paragraph under section 1, the term shall be amended to extend the term of the agreement by an additional 3-year period ending November 15, 2023. And then it says the parties agree that all other terms and conditions shall remain in full effect and are not changed or negated as a result of this addendum. And Mr. Lee has reviewed this, and this is just something, we've got the original agreement in the minutes, and we need to have this in the minutes of the record as well. That's the only change and the only addendum that it adds to the contract.
So we need a motion to adopt this new extension on the recreation contract. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to execute the agreement for the extension of the recreation contract with the changes that was made in it. All right, any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? For option. And that's all those in favor. And then is anyone that abstain or oppose? Okay, motion carries. That the vote was, motion carried for the vote, we had the 3 votes on that. Okay, the next item on unfinished business is item number 2, discussion of recreation. Mr. Gay?
That actually came from me.
That's
I actually reached out and asked them to put this on there 2 meetings ago, but you weren't here, Shirley, and Beth wasn't here the last meeting, so I wanted this to be discussed for everybody. A little research on the county and the recreation department. Back in 2003, evidently, there was a recreation board that was established for the purpose of moving forward to get countywide recreation. Can everybody hear me okay? There was actual money given by the Board of Education at that time, and nothing happened with that recreation board. It was completely dissolved. Nothing happened. Here we are 16 years later, and no countywide recreation has been put in place. The current rec board, and I don't know the exact date, but I think maybe close to 5 years it's been in place, 4 years. And up until Ms. Carter gave us a little update, we haven't had any updates on that. What I want to discuss today is, we have extended this contract with Manchester. We have 4 years to get in place a countywide recreation program. I know people think because I'm from Manchester and we extended this contract, that's what we want. I do want to see a countywide recreation here in the county. I think it will benefit everybody in the county. Discussing with the Manchester officials, they would also like to see it countywide because it's going to save a lot of money out of their budget for the $380,000 plus they're spending on top of what we're giving them. I honestly think that 16 years since a recreation board was created and nothing has happened at this point, what we need to do is to have this entire board, along with city officials, at least the mayor, if they have a city manager, and we need to set up bi-monthly meetings to have this board and the cities to come in. And citizens are welcome because it will have to be a advertised meeting since it will be the entire board of commissioners. And I think we all need to sit down and look at what we have in place in every city that can be utilized for any type of recreation, whether it's a building that can be used for senior citizens, if it's fields that you have that may be not in working order, but at one time it was, and what we will need to do to get it back to where it needs to be working. That's where the cities need to come in and look at what they have in their area and bring that back to the meeting. We all sit down and discuss, and we start putting together what we have. I think at that point, when we have a knowledge of what's out there, at that point, we have to put together a plan. If you don't have a business plan, you fail from day one. That's been one of the issues that we have in this county. We have not put a business plan forward for the recreation. That's why it's failed. 16 years of this, it's failed. I think at this point, what we're going to have to do is to have this board and the cities, as I said, come together for bi-monthly meetings. The cities will be contacted if this board decides that this is what they want to do, and let the city officials know what we need to put together what they have to offer. And I, again, would like to have those bi-monthly. I'd also like to know at that point what each city, and this is probably got to be the pushback part, what each city thinks they could financially give. Because I'll be honest with you, with the budget that the county works on, the amount of square miles that we have to cover, it's very hard to find an additional $380,000 in the budget just to fund, and that's probably not even hitting right where we need to be. So I think in order to make this an entire county-wide recreation, we're going to have to participate. We need the participation of each city. We need to know what financially they can contribute, because that's why it's working now. And Manchester is giving the biggest part and supplying that amount for countywide. So if we're going to take that, and we do have 4 years now, so it's time to get off the pot and move forward. And we've got to do that. But that's what I wanted to discuss, because I honestly feel that's the only way this is going to work, is we've got to get together, we've got to sit down, we've got to get serious about it. We need to see what we have in every area of this county that can be utilized, and we need to put together a plan and move forward. And I would like to add, if we move forward with this, the Recreation Advisory Board to not meet monthly, but to meet with us bi-monthly on that, so that everybody has an input. And that way, you have the officials who have the authority to make financial decisions that need to be made, and then you guys will be there to have input. I honestly feel this is the only way this is going to work. I really and truly do, because if we have a group that's meeting and they're discussing, but there's nothing being done, we're the ones that can make it happen. And I think we need to all come together, because we have 4 years, and that's it, to get this together and move forward. So saying that and discussing it, I would like to make a motion that we start having bi-monthly meetings with the city officials, that it be an advertised meeting, because it will consist of us, the mayor or city manager, whoever from that area, the Recreation Advisory Board, and any citizens that want to come. My motion is that we start having bi-monthly countywide recreation meetings with city officials and the Recreation Advisory Board. That's it.
I'll make a comment. I know it's typical to make the motion in a second and then have discussion, but since this has just been brought, can we have some discussion
Okay.
first before we carry on with the...
Yeah, and can we do that?
Can we do that?
Yeah.
I just went ahead and did the motion since I was talking, because I was
Yeah.
talking.
So
Just
then,
because you seconded, doesn't mean you have to vote in favor of it.
Well, that's true, that's true.
We need a second on the table.
If they want to talk about it, they can, but it couldn't hurt to second.
oh, yes, can I get a motion that we second? Can I get a,
I'll give a second so we get the discussion rolling.
All right, so at this time, is any discussion?
Well, one thing I just wanted to mention, I wasn't aware until you just mentioned it, that that school board had put something in at one time.
$80,000, and they took it back because nothing came about the entire countywide recreation back in 2003.
Okay.
Before then,
It was 2000.
before 2003.
It was before 2003.
Well, given that, I mean, I know we were dealing with a totally different board and, school board and superintendent and all that, but if we decide to go this way, I think they would be somebody to be included possibly in these discussions,
And I'll admit that, because it does need to be.
if that was the case.
And
'cause
even
I
if they
wasn't
didn't
aware of
have
that.
cash to give, they have a lot of facilities.
That's right.
Buildings, gymnasiums.
Well, I do want to make some comments. We voted as a board to have an advisory board. Most counties have a recreation board that's not an advisory board, that does give them a little bit more authority. In putting that advisory board together, we voted to have representation from each city. So the board consists of each municipality. Also, there's someone from the school board, and there's someone at large on that board for the purpose of making sure that they reached out to the cities as well as the constituents in that area. So we'll have a lot more discussion. We have several boards in this county, and from the Water Sewer Authority Board, and I'm not trying to put anyone under the bus, but they've been in existence now for over 19 years, and we still don't have countywide water and sewage. So my point is, we do want the citizens to be engaged. That's why you put them on board, so they can be a part of the process. But I also think that for the habit where the county commissioners are there all the time and the cities, I think that takes away from people and the citizens wanting to be active members on boards. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but it's so different than what is normally done. I agree there needs to be something done about recreation. I have done my due diligence to see what's being done in other areas. Every surrounding county, even Heard County, which has a smaller population than us and a smaller budget, provides countywide recreation. It is a part of promoting your county. It's part of quality of life. I just recently talked to Bartow County regarding, they were able to get a good contract in Chick-fil-A, and one of the reasons they said, there were a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons they said they came there was the quality of life that was being provided, was recreation, and the resources that were going to be there for their people. So yes, we are missing a good opportunity to do this, but I also feel that we need to allow our citizens to have more of an input and allow this board to give them maybe some more direction that we hadn't given them before. So those are my comments.
And I'd like to comment on that. I was not trying to take away any citizen having anything. What I'm trying to do is to expedite this process. If we're all together in a room and you have the officials there that can make these financial decisions to move forward, it's much quicker than it is to have an advisory board sit, come to us and present, then we have to meet and decide. When we all get there together, we can narrow down. It's a much quicker process that would happen. And I don't think we have the time to delay it. But I want to amend that motion first, before I stop, to also include the school board or a representative or superintendent to join those meetings.
On the amended motion, I will second that too.
I think there's a difference in the authorities that you mentioned, though, is that we don't have anything in place for the rec authority to work on, whereas the airport authority, they've got the actual airport, the water and sewer part. We don't have countywide. We do have a water system they oversee, and we do have a sewer system. So I think that's different, because we don't have anything for them to work on. And we do have countywide recreation to an extent. That's what this contract does. Granted, it addresses mostly sports for the most part. And there are other aspects of recreation. And those other aspects actually may be easier for the county to do than the sports part. The sports part's the really expensive thing. So it may be that if we could get folks together and they got buildings we can use or whatever, it may be that we could get some other recreational activities started and let the sports be the last thing, because when you talk about doing fields and gyms, which we have some we have access to, that's going to be the more expensive part. Getting some things together where you do, whether it's exercise classes or craft classes or games or whatever, that actually ought to be easier to get started on a county-wide level than the sports part of it. But like I said, I know the rec board has not met in the last several months. I know there was some, maybe it wasn't, everybody didn't have a quorum or for whatever reason or whatever, but they don't really have anything to work with. I mean, they can't make a decision as to far as we're going to purchase this building or we're going to renovate this or whatever.
And I think this will give the opportunity for them to tell us.
Baron, I'm sorry. When we formed this advisory board, wasn't there an agreement that we put with the cities for a recreation agreement or something? Didn't we go to the cities and talk? The reason I'm asking is because from my understanding, the recreation board has identified the facilities that are in the county, what's in the city and what's in the county. Because from my understanding, we identified what Luthersville had as far as their fields, as far as their tennis courts and things of that nature. We recognize, so that work has already been done. Now, what's happened with it, I don't know. But am I correct? Didn't we go to the cities and come up with some kind of agreement with these cities already?
We never really put together an agreement with the cities, but what we did do is from the very first meetings that I attended, there was a lot of discussion about the county does not have any facilities. And then we did get together with some of the members, and I know Vic and maybe Randy and myself and others went and looked, and we identified, and we come back and said, wait a minute, we do have those. You just got to clean them up, and they've got to be maintained. And we have worked with Greenwood on discussion of the facility here. We have talked to the school board, but I don't think anything is in their agreement other than there was an idea of trying to get someone from every city area on that board. Another thing that is different with the authorities and this board, the authorities have the ability to borrow money. They can do that. This board is an advisory board solely. They cannot make any commitments on funding. They have no mechanism of funding other than coming back and asking you guys to fund it.
Well, let me just clarify that. I don't want to necessarily say we need a recreation authority, but most recreations are recreation board, and ours is an advisory board, so that's the distinction between what we have and maybe other counties have. But once again, there is a need, and it's definitely need to be addressed in more than what's been happening thus far. But, once again, just wanted to make sure we have some clarity on this. Anyone else? Any other commissioners?
Go ahead, Mary.
Well, my comments are this. I hear what Brian is saying, that we need to put recreation in each city. But in the long run, I don't think that's going to benefit the county as a whole. And if the recreation department ever is going to grow, I think our head should be, how can we build a recreation center in the center of Meriwether County that can serve all of the citizens? To go here and put a little something here in Luthersville, or maintain what Luthersville have, or to maintain what Greenville have, and maintain what Woodbury have, we're still just traveling around in a circle. But if our goal is to centralize location for Meriwether County recreation, we can concentrate on, eventually, I know we can't do it all at one time, building a complex center, but we can continually to grow. But to go in and just start putting a dab of money here and a dab of money there, we will never be a full recreation county. We just have dabs all over the place. So I really think that the idea of building or putting in place, setting aside land to eventually do a complex recreation center for Meriwether County. And I think no other county has just a little dab here and there all over their cities, but they have more of a centralized location where the county can come together and grow their recreation
department, not just putting little dabs of money there. I think in terms of the recreation board, I think that they need to be given some, not authority, but if they come to us, if, so Three Rivers or whoever can come up with a complex plan. But for us to just go in and start putting dabs of money here and there, we're not going anywhere.
I need to comment. I didn't say anything about dabs of money. I said everybody needs to come together and we figure this out as government for the entire county and with the cities. Nothing's happened in 16 years. I didn't say we're going to put $1 here, $1 there. We all need to figure it out. And I know that they have studies to where we have certain things, but I don't know if we had vacant buildings and things like that, and that's what I'm asking, because we may use those for senior areas. So, like Beth said, there's different things besides just playing ball, and we need to get that. So, none of mine is to put a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. Let's see what we've got throughout the county. Everybody meet. It's not taking anything away from the rec advisory board. It's bringing them in, and, maybe I'm crazy, but I put a lot of thought into this, honestly. And
Well, let me just
I'm not finished. I actually feel it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. I'm trying to get on board with doing the recreation, but there's always pushback from two individuals on this board, and I'm sorry. I just think that the only way we can do this...
You're not going there.
Well, yeah, I did go there.
No, you know what? This should have been done in a work session, first of all.
I can do it wherever I want to.
No.
Excuse me.
Don't interrupt me, Shirley. I'm talking. No, ma'am. Do not do that. If somebody's not going to tell me something, then you tell me to be quiet.
No, I didn't say
then you
quiet.
just hold on because I'm talking.
Excuse me.
If you don't want this to get up, do not do that. That's not going to work. Anyway, we need to move forward, and we need to do this, or nothing is ever going to happen, but do not hit that gavel at me again.
Just a comment as I'm listening, and Brian has sheltered his thoughts very well. I had no idea what all he was going to lay out for us here today, but I hear us turning on about 3 points here. The big thing is the authority to carry out, and that's where I see the cities, the elected officials there, have a certain amount of authority to carry. They also control their assets that we may need within that municipality, whatever. The school board also has assets that we need to bring here into the picture. They would be there to create that asset control. We as the county have asset control that needs to be brought here. And the final thing that I see, the cities can start here at this time, over the next 4 years, and begin to budget for recreation. Begin to understand everybody's going to have just a little piece of this pie. Some municipalities are going to have a larger slice than others. But the only way I see that's going to happen is you're going to have to start somewhere to do that.
One of the things that, I think the plan that you guys will need to do is you need to have short-term goals, long-term goals.
Right.
Short-term would be utilizing the facilities that you have now, because you cannot just jump to long-term. But long-term, it could be a centralized, facility. What I've seen through the years is I've seen facilities say, let's centralize, and then as the county grows and population grows, they have to have these satellites all around, because you'll clutter one. And I'll use Coweta as a good example. Originally we had virtually everything right in the city of Newnan, and then we had small fields here and there. We brought everything in, so Newnan and the fields there were the big attraction. But now we had started to go out, and I think they've gone back out. They have a big facility in Sonoa, and have facilities at various locations where there's other population. There's one in Granville, and so it's kind of started centralized, and then when it got so big, it went back out. But I think the key is using what you have now to be able to offer programs, but ultimately have that big goal of where you want to be. And then you've got to identify that funding, and very honestly, it's going to take something other than just taxes to get it done.
Right. And there's one more point I would like to make. Most cities or most counties has a grant writer. There are several grants out there that could be utilized if the county would take the time to utilize some of those grants opportunities. And not only that, right now, I think every city already has a senior citizen. So I don't think that's the main goal. But then I know there's money out there to build a centralized senior citizen. There's always money to build a senior citizen building. But we do not utilize what we have. We don't take advantage of the grants opportunity we have. We let a lot of money go uncalled or unused by our county because we do not get grants and things to furtherize our recreation and other things. So that's something that we need to also think about. How can we write grants? How can grants come in to help us? No, we will never have enough money, our personal money, to further our recreation program, but why can't we utilize some of these grant opportunities that other cities use? Cities and county get all kind of grant money, but we get nothing.
Well, you do have to, if you get there probably would be availability for a big senior center of CDBG dollars, but you still have to, you have to look at two things with that. You have to have 30% match, and that can get to be expensive. You also, once you get it built, you got to staff it and maintain it. That's what so many people forget when they build something. And I know Nathan knows that, we looked at impact fees, and one of the advice that we gave the board on impact fees is don't build something you wasn't going to build anyway, because you have to staff it, you'll have to maintain it. So there are grants available, but you need some seed money to be able to, to get that and take advantage of those grants.
So, go ahead.
One thing we have to remember, Meriwether County is a little bit unique land-wise, just the amount of area, but there are not many counties that deal with as many municipalities as we do.
Right.
So whereas some of them may not try to have something in every city, I mean, we got 30 miles difference between one end of the county with a city and another, which is fast becoming more heavily populated. So I think that's something we have to look at. I think we have got to use what we got to get started. Because you just take we're talking a mill of taxes right now that's being spent on recreation. We're not spending it all, granted, but that's what it costs right now.
Right.
To
And that's
run
the
what we do
status
have, and
quo.
that's basically the sports. I understand that. That's not a lot else other than the senior citizens centers, the 3 that we have of those.
Is there any more discussion? Because I would like to make a comment. There's a lot been discussed on this, and recreation is always a hot topic, but it is something that we do need to move forward on. We have a motion on the floor, but I also would like to indicate that this, to me, should have been in a work session, and it's still a lot to discuss. But since we have a motion on the floor and we've had a second at this time, so do you mind recapping the motion again? Because it's been revised before we take a vote on it. Commissioner Drago? Or what was just
Before I do that, I want to apologize to y'all out there. I'm sorry that I showed that side of me. That's not my intention of coming here today. I thought about this for quite a while. I honestly thought that it was an extremely good idea in order to move it forward. So I didn't think I'd get pushback on something that seems to be something that will finally work for the county to move forward and have the discussions and people who can make actual decisions to do it with the advisory board, to be there and inform us. So it's the same as the advisory board. It's just, to me, a quicker process because we're all there discussing it. And at that point, we can make decisions much quicker than delaying 2-3 months out from you all having a discussion, having it on the agenda, presenting it to us having to think about it and come forward. That was my thoughts on this. It really and truly was a good intention on my part to make this motion and do this. And anyway, I apologize to all of y'all out there for it. I don't apologize to the board, I apologize to y'all.
As I understand the motion, Madam Chairman, it was a motion to have a bi-monthly meeting with Board of Commissioners, Mayor, City Manager, representatives from the city, Recreation Advisory Board, and also the representative from the school system to discuss implementation of countywide recreation.
So does that mean that the ordinance that addressed this has to be revised? Because the ordinance states already, how many is on the board, how often they meet? So does that have to be changed?
I think it's just inform the board that
I would think so.
Okay, just ask.
They're still there.
they're still there.
They're still their board.
And there's nothing in the ordinance that says how often they have to meet.
And this group may meet for a period of time and say, okay, we've set in place what we want to do. Just then the rec board, comes in and finishes up the process.
Or they need to find out that we're nowhere near on the same page.
Yeah, that's
I mean, talking
right.
about the cities and
So,
counties.
so I guess what I want to get clarity on, this is an additional meeting? Or this is addition to what the advisory board's already meeting?
No, in that motion, I said to take away their monthly meetings and have them meet with us bi-monthly.
It's not to say that it couldn't change, though.
Because
They could go back to monthly or whatever.
If we
Is that
get
what
it, if
you're
we sit down and we get something rolling, then at that point, we can probably step out because it's moving forward. We've already made decisions, we've figured out the financials on this, and then back to just being the advisory board.
And, one other thing with the advisory board, I know sometimes they ask for direction. If you had all of you guys, all the cities, all the folks that have the money to spend and whatever, you could give them very clear direction on where the county wanted to go and, what we want to be, what the ultimate goal is. And then I think everybody can certainly be pulling. And I think the board has, in the beginning, the board was looking to define what they wanted to be. And we went over that. That was the first order of business every time is what are we supposed to be doing? Because I think what some of them envisioned doing was not what we envisioned.
So are you saying in the bi-monthly meeting, the board will at that time take a vote?
I mean, you could if it's a called meeting, but I think at least you could do is if you were willing to spend, I don't know, $10,000 on a study or something like that, you could certainly commit to that. Whereas that advisory board could not commit any funds. So, I mean, it just gives you some options is what we get. Because ultimately the decision has to come back to you guys anyway. And decision.
And I can tell you, the last thing I want is another meeting, but I'm willing to put in the time to commit to it.
So we have a motion and a second regarding the, changing the meetings for the recreation to be bi-monthly and to also have the Board of Commissioners and the city councils, the city representative and the school board at these meetings.
And that's a call meeting, not a work session.
It will be a call meeting.
And I don't really think you may have to amend the rec advisory, if you tell them, hey, this is when we want you to meet. But I think we just go to them and ask them, and they have flexibility in their meetings, so just invite them.
There's nothing in their ordinance that says when they have to be, they set that their own.
Had to have a couple of meetings a year, I think.
What was that?
I was just asking Nathan about our ordinance now. In the very beginning of our ordinance, it states when the county commissioners meet on the Wednesday and the Tuesday of each month. If this will be a permanent meeting, we may need to revise our ordinance if this is going to be a regular meeting and not.
So it can't be just a special call? A special call?
That's a special call.
Because if we all get there and it's something there, then like I said, we can step back, and then it becomes the rec advisory board again at that point. We have something in place for them to work on.
If it's a special call.
Not a lot different than what we did with the comprehensive plan.
That's right. So there's been a motion and a second and discussion. At this time, we'd like to ask for a vote. All those in favor of the recommendation, show of hands. Anyone opposed or abstain? Okay, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the award and the finance of the 4 trucks. Mr. Gay?
Yes, ma'am. Bill Greger went out and sought the financing proposals from about 5 banks, and Southcrest Bank in Manchester was by far the lowest. They were willing to provide us funding for this at an interest rate of 3.28% per annum, and with that, we would recommend that we accept that and award that bid to the Southwest Bank in Manchester for funding for our 4 pickup trucks we're ordering.
I missed the last meeting, but I heard some discussion before the meeting that, is it 4 vehicles or is it supposed to be more? Did y'all ever decide?
Yeah, I made a mistake.
Okay.
It was a total of 11, 7 and 4.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, so
That's
we...
what we're gonna do
Okay, this is
right now.
4. Okay, I just wanted to make sure since I wasn't here.
I know y'all aren't used to me making mistakes.
But this is for public works.
Whatever those...
It's not the share.
Okay.
It's everything but the share.
Okay.
So this is for, 2 for public works and 1 for building and zoning. And the tax assessor's
Okay.
office.
And then there was also approval to be able to purchase for the sheriff.
For the sheriff, which is totally separate.
And take delivery in October and build the,
When their current contract's basically over for the vehicle. Gotcha. Okay. I'm glad to see we got that much participation from local banks, though.
Yes,
Because
that was
we've gone
really
out
good.
for other things and not gotten
yeah, that
any
was really good, and
response.
some really,
Good
pretty
rates.
competitive rates, yeah. With the exception of maybe one.
One just didn't really want to fool with it that well.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Can I
Give
get
you the standard.
a motion?
I make a motion we accept Southcrest Bank's 3.28% financing for our 4 trucks.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second that we accept Southcrest Bank for the financing of our 4 trucks. Is there any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Vote carries. Thank you. The next item is the ward agent for the records of the P&L insurance. Mr. Gay, would you go over that with us?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chairman, Commissioners, the board had said that y'all would like to go out and look at, potentially other options on property and liability insurance. And considering that, Bill and Beverly set up meetings with 3 different groups. It was advertised in the legal organ, and we had to have qualifications of agents. The reason you have to pick an agent is they're all going to the same insurance market. So you can't have 2 or 3 agents bring them because they'll be competing against each other, with this insurance group or that. So Beverly and Bill brought in 3 different groups, and they had an interview process and a rating system. And at the end of their work, they came back and they're recommending to award the agent of record for property and liability coverage to J. Smith Lanier and Company. And that's based on scoring the highest on the scorecard system. And what they will do is they'll be able to go out and seek insurance for us, and then we can compare it to what we're receiving with our current coverage. So my recommendation would be acceptance of J. Smith Lanier to serve as our agent for property and liability.
Property and liability, okay.
So, Mr. Gay, this is the same thing that Shaw Shanks, similar to what they do with their health. So they're having the same role. They'll just go out and research, then bring that back to us.
That's right. And then we compare it to our current coverage, which is
This is
ACCG.
current, ACCG, that's what I'm not sure.
So, does it indicate what their service fee is?
That's something building.
Yeah, let me see. Let's go to services.
And would this be a firm that we use on a regular basis?
We're using them now.
We're using them now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
We're just going to see if there was anybody that was any better or could offer any more services. Now, ACCG, if the PLL is awarded to ACCG, they would not be involved with that.
Right.
Then ACCG would be our broker, we continue with them.
They
But without
But they
this,
stand, okay.
But if they don't, and this other company comes in less money and a better product that the board likes, then we've already got a broker that we need on hand.
Okay.
and you don't have to, we can continue with what we got, but this is the only way to be able to compare what you have.
And to look at the competitiveness of what's out there. Okay, that's fine. All right, at this time, I'd like to call for a motion that we accept the recommendation from County Administrator. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Anyone oppose or abstain? If not, motion carries. Thank you. Item number 4 is the 2019 budget amendment, item number 1.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a budget amendment to be able to recognize funds that are donated to the animal shelter. And this is, item number 1 is, I think, $5,700 donation, and then you can see at the bottom what those dollars are used for. So that's what Amendment 1 is. Amendment 2, which is the next one over, is also to the animal shelter, and that is a donation of $2,000, and that comes from PetSmart Charities. And of course, the first one is a private donor who donates regularly. We appreciate all they do for us in terms of helping us. But they did not want to be named.
I do want to say something about it, Chair. The $2,000 that came from PetSmart, that's only because of Sean, the animal shelter director. He went out, and it's not that everybody can go to PetSmart and join in on the adoption availability that they have. You have to go through a process to get accepted in, and he did that. And after you adopt X number of animals at their facility, then that's where this money comes in. I think it's $1,000 per pop per however many you do. So he's done a great job on it, and obviously he's had 2 very successful adoptions because they've given the $2,000. So I just want everybody to know where that came from.
Thank you.
This is just movement of funds to get into correct category. It's nothing paying out anything.
No, what we're doing is we're recognizing the revenue, and then we're showing the expenses.
Thank you. I'd like to call for a motion.
Do we need to do them separately?
Yes,
No. Okay.
yes. I'd like to call for a motion for the budget amendment number 1.
I move we accept it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, I'm going to like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed or abstain? Motion carries. Thank you. The second item is the budget item number 2, one from PetSmart. Can I get a motion on that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second that we accept this. Any more discussion? If not, can I ask for a vote? All those in favor? Anyone abstain or oppose? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item is to present new certificate for the Meriwether County Storm Ready. And Mr. Gay, would you go over that with us, please?
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna, if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna ask Brent Jones to come up and talk about this. Bill Gregory is not here today, so he's on vacation, and he has indicated that Brent was gonna do it.
Yeah, Storm Ready, basically, not every county in Georgia has the Storm Ready certification, basically. Just like what's on the wall there, this is basically a renewal of our certification. They add certain things to it every few years, but we just renewed through the end of April 2022. Basically what this means is we just meet certain conditions that they require as far as early warning systems and programs in place to deal with weather, severe weather more specifically. Any questions?
Since y'all all looked at the certificates, I had to just kind of throw them in this morning, but any questions?
Brent, can you talk a little bit about, just very, very briefly, about what you guys had to do to get this and all the folks involved, because this didn't come by just sitting there, so
Okay, yeah. David Nadler with the National Weather Service came over and basically went through our procedures, what we do. A lot of it has to do with our mass notification system, how we go about as far as procedures, as far as notifying the public in reference to emergencies, whether that be, well, this is mainly for weather, but that carries across the board as far as any type of emergency. What else? activation points, being the 911 center, and actually having our EOC there now also has actually strengthened and helped this certification as well. I think the last time that we went through this, I think we were at I think the fire station was our EOC actually. But that's in a nutshell. Let me just see if I'm missing anything. Am I missing anything here? There?
Well, we'll just recognize all of you guys. Do we have any of the road signs that indicate this?
We do have road signs, but I would like to get some more. They do have road signs. You've seen them when you come to the county. It says that we're Storm Ready County, and they're $40.
$42, I see.
Yeah, so I'd like to actually put that out there, because like I said, not every county in Georgia, some of our neighboring counties, to be more specific, are not Storm Ready County, and we do our best to keep that, not just to have a certification on a piece of paper, but for our citizens. I mean, to be able to warn them.
It's on the website as well, isn't it? Don't you have something on there? Storm Ready?
We do.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, once again, if it's on the website, other than it being put in the paper, can we also make sure that it's on the website to verify our certification, if that's okay?
Yeah. That allows us actually to use that logo as well.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion on this? All right. All right, so,
What's that?
We'll do it at the end.
we'll do it.
Do it in the picture. Sure.
So there's no motion or anything to do this, just a presentation part, okay? All right, the next item is item number 7, request temporary closure for Strickland Town Road for, what is this, Star Wars films? Star Wars.
With, interesting that the timing is here at, we have representatives here from Star Wars Films, and of course, Ms. Johnson's been working on this as well. We actually have a culvert that is washed out at that location, and I don't know whether these guys just happened by or they were looking for something, but Mike Riley called me and said, hey, can we use this? So then we met, and they would like to use that location. Of course, it's closed. We're going to take I think the guardrail down for you guys and all. We have to do that anyway. And y'all are going to sit and do a movie scene there. You're going to start one afternoon and carry over into the next day, I understand. Give me the dates on those. It's May the...
Wednesday, the 15th, this next Wednesday.
Okay, so May 15th. And then you're going to go through...
We'll actually just go into the night. We probably won't overlap now into the next day. We'll just go kind of late that evening.
Right. And we talked about the no loud noise, but there's not any houses in close proximity to this. And being as the road is already closed, we're not going to have a lot of traffic disruptions. So we would recommend that that be approved for their use.
The only thing they had left, y'all get in touch with Mr. Rowe, y'all were going to ask about an easement for his property.
We did. Yes, sir.
So our recommendation would be to allow the closure of the road, and they've already put together a safety plan. I think they've already talked to the sheriff's office and everything, so should be ready to go.
Madam Chair, this may be the biggest no-brainer we've had. South Strickland Town Road is already essentially closed. We're officially doing it today. Nobody can pass there because it's washed out. I make a motion, we go ahead and close it. Because production.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Is anyone opposed or abstain? Motion carries. Thank you.
Maybe we should have y'all fix the road.
Well, we talked about that yesterday.
Okay, item number 8 is roadway abandonment petition Overby Road, AKA Jesse Porch Road, and this is Paul Seafrieds, all right?
Madam Chairman,
So, can you,
before Kathy comes on, let me just kind of briefly go over the procedure. At one time, someone would come in and say, hey, we want to abandon our road. And the planning and zoning department just kind of worked on everything, put the advertising in the paper, and then it was on y'all's agenda, and you had to look at it and deal with it. It's not really the way it needs to go. I mean, state law does allow that, but I've always felt that if you guys are going to have a hearing on something, you need to be the one that sits the hearing, has the information ahead of time. So what we've done is we've changed the procedure for a person to come in and request a road closure. And then we wanted to bring it to you guys to see if you're interested. If there's no interest in it, then there's really no reason in paying for advertisement, doing the mapping, have our staff all get together, write up reports, and give opinion on it, and waste the staff time if there's really no interest. Now, if there is interest in considering it, then what we would like to ask you guys to do is to set a time for the hearing, and between now and then, we'll gather all the data, and we're going to get gathered from Public Works, Public Safety, 911, Sheriff, everybody involved. We're going to check and see that it meets all the criteria that you set aside in your road abandonment ordinance, which is fairly new, and just bring it back. And so that's the reason it's here before you guys tonight. It's not a public hearing at all. It is here to for you to understand and look at the request, and then if you feel like, yeah, we should consider this, we can move forward with getting the reports together and having it back for a public hearing at a future date.
So it seemed like we have several. So item number 8, do we know what district or what area that covers? It may not make that much of a difference, but it would be nice to know who is familiar with this road and this area. Kathy, do you mind coming up at this time?
Y'all are going to get tired of seeing me, aren't you? This is on the Mr. Secret's property. On your application there, you do see that there are numerous company names, all of which are Secret family's properties. There is one other property owner along that road that has also signed a petition. And I do have Mr. Ronnie Code here, who is his manager, if you have questions for him in your deliberations today. This is actually in Mr. McCoy's district. I do believe it's in your district.
I don't think it is.
Down
I
Oak
think
Big
it's
Road,
just across the road in the second.
Second?
Isn't it, Ronnie? Aren't you on the property we're talking about? If we're going south on the highway to Woodbury, it's on the right-hand side, right?
That's correct. Can you pull it up?
To be on the south side of Highway 18, right there with that Walnut Creek.
Now, I'm familiar with the road, and it's a road that goes to nowhere. I mean, it's that kind of a thing down there that's just been left a public road for no apparent reason.
And it runs down to
Cedar Rock.
Cedar Rock.
It actually does, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I believe, Kathy, that is second district, but I'm not,
Second district. Well, that's
I believe that's right.
Brent, can you comment on that? Because I just right in the city limits, I don't go to work here.
Give me 1 second,
And what we'll try to do is we'll try to put the district on there at least.
I did get a message yesterday when I was actually on site somewhere else, so I was not able to answer your question when you called.
That's fine. Thank you.
She's been very busy, but doing a great job.
there, and it's all, it's all that we're,
It does fall in line.
it's all that we're, it's all that we're doing is moving it to okay.
It's just south of the line.
Yeah, if you,
Is it just south of the line?
Just
Okay.
south of.
all you do is just ask them that you could gather all that data. So no decisions today other than, do you want to move forward with
The
looking
public
at them?
hearing.
It is?
How long is
Okay,
this
there
road?
it is. All right.
So if we do decide to do these and move forward, then we can bring at that time the districts that they're in, it'll give us time to decide.
You'll, right, yes, sir. You'll get the districts they're in, you'll get all the details, you'll get all the comments back from the county staff about it, and you'll have a lot of information at that point. We just didn't want to go to the, it's been so busy, we just didn't want to do an exercise in gathering data and then have it go nowhere.
Madam Chair, I've been corrected because of the north-south boundary. It does fall into my line, in my area there. So I move we proceed with all the procedure for abandonment.
Okay.
So,
For a hearing.
no, it's not, for now, it's not for an
hearing.
abandonment. This is just to have a public
It
hearing.
would just be to set the date.
I said procedure for abandonment.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Okay.
misunderstood you.
And Kathy, in order to get that, and if y'all rather have it in a night meeting, which I think probably give more people opportunity to come, let's set that for the last meeting in June.
That'd be June, because I'll have to get the advertising done, and it's too late to get it for this
So
month.
that would be the 25th.
Okay, so there's a motion, and I believe there was a second?
There was.
All right, so there's a motion and a second to go ahead and have a public hearing for the abandonment petition for Overby Road. If there's no any more discussion, I'd like to call for a vote.
All those in favor? Anyone opposed or abstained? The next item is item number 9, roadway abandonment petition for the open option on Oakland Road, Humanity or Square. So I do believe that's in my district.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay. Do you share the sum, so?
My question is Oakland Road all the way to the creek? Is that what we're looking at? Yeah,
It is.
we're looking all the way to the creek. Okay, so we do share that.
So that's
One.
1 and 3. I'd like to make some comments. If we both share that, I think this time. I have a real concern right now with road abandonment, mainly because we've experienced so many roads that have been damaged due to weather. Tremendous things kind of coming we have now, right now. One of my main concerns is that there's always accessibility to citizens and those that own property in the county. You never know what situation you're going to find ourselves in. We have a situation now where a landowner cannot get to their property. So I'm not, for me right now, I just think closing roads or abandoning roads is just not as best thing for the county. So those are just my comments. Anyone else have to comment on that before we talk about it?
Well, I can agree with your son, but this one right here is a whole lot for anybody. And I'll say that it was a time, but also the fact that somebody could request that there were surveys that they watch that on and they called us to spend more money and time to repair them. I think it's a case by case. I don't have a problem with it because the person will, and
Oh, we got the ordinance, that's a problem. We don't say that until we just say.
and we could watch out what Sheriff said. It could be that one of these surveys would cost us actually more money than if we ever get back from back to the stuff like that. I think that was personally the one that we wanted to see about that.
So at this time, anyone damage. Anyone opposed or abstaining? And the next item. The next item is, item number 10, road damage to Beaver Road. This is our
That's correct. He is out of town, and Mr. Nally is here to represent him in your district also, Ms. Hines. This is for, it'd be the intersection of Beaver Lake Road and Weaver Parks all the way through to Oakland Road. It's approximately a mile and a half.
So Beaver Road is going to be very open for now. They're closing two roads that
It intersect
for the access.
for the access, right? The northwest, the east side is going to be on Oakland Road, and the north side is right there where Beaver Lake turns off. Oakland Road is on the right-hand side going towards White Oak Creek. And then the beginning area is right there where Beaver Lake comes off of Weaver Park. Part of it, I only have Ike Williams Road marked on here where it comes down. Mr. Nally, what's the...
Isn't one of these roads already closed?
Part of it is already closed.
Part of it's already closed.
This is the remaining open.
Is that because the bridge is closed?
Well, it's officially closed and just in the bank.
It's just, that top of the bank is really close.
Because the bridge is not already open.
But it hasn't been working. It's been a long time.
They're heading to pull over real quick, so I don't want to back them up, but anyway, that road hasn't been maintained by our county, in a long time, feel like it's really so I don't think we can maintain
So at this time, we'd like to get a motion for road damage associated with Beaver Park Road. Is there a second? Any more discussion? Not like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Or abstaining? Motion carries.
That's correct.
The next one is item number 11, road abandonment decision for German Park Road between Martinsbury Lane and German Road. This is Ireland and Tennessee. And that is in District 1.
District 1, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so,
We're looking at about a .86 mile piece of property. Mr. Summerhour is the owner on both the north and the south side. This would be where Jimmy Clark intersects with Mockingbird Lane, and it goes through where Germany Road intersects with Jimmy Clark. You have some of hers, and then you have the one that I prepared as well. It actually goes from, it's, Jimmy Clark, okay, I see what you're saying.
Okay, what road does Jimmy Clark the main road, or does it connect to the?
It's all about
Jimmy Clark Road is off Mount Commonwealth. So if I was leaving Gay, going to Allison, I'm on that road, and Jimmy Clark runs off that.
To the right.
To the right. Okay.
I think we're currently using that as cutter right now, because it's going to the north.
Right. So that's the way they're doing right there.
Germany is in the north.
In order to get to the
Ms. Munn is wanting to be sure you understand it's only for the portion from Mockingbird Lane over to Germany that they're asking for on this proposal.
So you've got Jimmy Clark Road on here, Mockingbird Lane, and Germany Road.
Okay, where Mockingbird intersects with Jimmy Clark. That's going to be on the left-hand side. Which map are you looking at? Okay, I posted it.
June 25th, myself, I'd like to go out and see the areas either with Thayer and Kathy or Bill. And I think maybe for all of us to do that, be doing what we need to do.
That's Germany.
Is that part of that road already closed?
If it is, it's because of the water damage. But I mean, it is a functioning road. And Mr. Summerhour is the owner, or his LLC of all this that I've highlighted. Yes, ma'am.
So he's the only thing on this.
That's right. And this is Estes, and this is Quercus.
What's this road right here?
This is Mockingbird here. That's just a parcel line.
Oh, that's, okay, all right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Would y'all like to see that?
That clarifies it.
So, at this time, I'd like to call for a motion to consider a public hearing for the abandonment petition of the Jimmy Clark Road and the Mockingbird Lane and Germany Road.
So,
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
I have one question. You are the attorney on this,
Yes,
aren't you, Ms. Irene?
Yes, sir.
By all means, we'll have you here.
Thank you.
All right.
That again will be for June the 25th. That is going to be a long
We're
night.
not putting anything else on the agenda that night.
It may be all we have.
All right.
and I just want to say the reason I'm making motions to do these is I think we owe that to at least hear it. It doesn't mean how we're going to vote that night. So this is just saying, let's hear what everybody has to say and make a determination at that point.
So we have a motion and a second. At this time, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone oppose or abstain? All right, motion carries.
So all of these will be on public hearing June the 25th, 6 o'clock meeting at Tuesday night. I will correspond with each and every one, so you will have a confirmation of the dates and times. And in the meantime, you've got packets that do show where these items are at. If you wish to have someone from our office or whomever go out with you to look at them, just let us know. All the departments have already been notified of these requests on hand, so they know ahead of time that we're wanting their input as well. So the 911, fire department, sheriff's department, everybody's been given something so that they can give us some feedback on their feelings on the possibility of these closings as well, and that will be shared with you.
And Kathy, you guys will also be posting signs for the ordinance.
Correct. We have post
Locations
signs.
to show this as well.
2 consecutive weeks of advertising, so I'll be getting in touch with you. And we do have to have the sign postings on there, and according to our ordinance, it is at the expense of the petitioners to bear that cost.
Okay. Make sure they understand to be here or a representative, so it doesn't delay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 12 is setting for a public hearing. Mr. Gall?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chairman, again, we've been kind of reworking the way we we do the, rezonings as well. The board really needs to set their public hearings, and I think in the past, we just advertised to do 4. What we have is 4 public hearings that need to come before the board. Kathy, I think those will be on May the 28th, right?
We do have a public hearing for these on May 28th. There are 4 items.
There are 4 items. And so what we would ask the board to do is to set the public hearing. There's 4 cases. Case number 5 is L.E. and Marjorie Kennedy. That's a LDR to RD. We have L.H. Arnold Estate, Mark Portal. That is a request from an A1, 25 acres to RR, 10 acres. We have a special use permit request for cell tower for Charles M. Jones, Towercom. And in case 8, we have Dustin Owens and Bruton Lamb, Mark Baranowski, and that is a rezoning from RR 10 acres to LDR 5, and special use as a permit cell tower.
Do we know what districts these are by chance?
I think 3 of them are in Commissioner McCoy's districts.
Portal, case number, Portal, the A1RR, that's in Commissioner Fred Hill. The Charles Jones is in, off of Black Road in the intersection of the highway, I believe that's what yours. Roosevelt, just north of town here.
That's Ms. Mayor.
Just this side of Valley Road.
Well, that would be her, yeah.
And then the other one is Kennedy, and that's either in Chairman Hines or here.
What road was that again? I mean, what's the address?
Princeton Road.
Prince,
That's mine.
Who had the Arnold Estate? Whose was that? District?
That was Commissioner Greg Henderson.
And in the future, I will make sure that each of you are notified of the district to help with that.
I think case number 6, I'm not sure.
Do you know where that is?
You said 6 is mine, okay?
Yours was,
No.
Owens, please.
Yours is case number 8.
And now, where's Dustin Owens putting that? Is it going to be north side of the road or the south side of the road?
It's actually going to be on the back side of their property, on the south side of where their homes are.
Coming down Roosevelt Field, the east side.
I believe that's mine, too, Kathy.
It's just this side of Valley Road. As you're going north up the highway.
Right.
Right-hand side, just before you get down the road. There's several homes on right there together on a small pond.
That's it. I think that's
right
mine.
side.
Right across the road is Miss Mary's, but on that side of the road is
That's
mine.
mine, right here.
That's why I was thinking you had both cell towers.
Is this yours then?
It's weird because Beth and I split the code straight down the middle and then we run right into Buster.
Yep.
So,
Y'all-
And it is very confusing between 1 and 3 as you start going up the north. Because you're kind of go around and circle.
Oh, it is. It looks like some giant bacterial phage out there ready to.
But I will make that readily available in the future so you will have it.
And again, just we need to ask you guys to set those public hearings, and be a busy night.
Then I move we set up May 20th.
Yeah.
I'll say.
So there's been a motion and a second to set the public hearing for case number 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Right.
All right, is there any more discussion?
We better pack us up.
If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed or abstain? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a report from our finance director, and he's not here today, so are we going to...
He's not here today, but, financials still look very strong. We are awaiting our FEMA money, but it is billed and check on it, and it is at the state being processed, so we'll be receiving that soon. And everything is, it's going well. It's finances are look good right now. And he can give you a more detailed report at our next meeting.
I do want to make a comment regarding this. We are getting close to making sure that we have things for our digest. So I know normally the Constitution officers don't have to come to our meetings, but I would like to get an update on where we're falling
Okay.
with that. to the board so that we make sure we're in line with that. I understand we had several CUVA applications and other applications. I think it was a little bit over 800 or close to it. So just want to make sure that we're in line, that we're not going to miss that deadline. And is the deadline June?
Deadline for sending out notices is, in order to get through the process, you need to get them out mid-June.
Okay.
Right. Now, at the last report on the percentage of collections, you have to collect 95%, and we were at 94.68. That was at the last meeting.
Okay.
So we're closely approaching that, and the assessor's office is, they've done really good. They've got some extra help, and they've moved forward. Their numbers look good. They've been reviewed, and they've corrected the deficiencies, and, I think everything will be on time with that.
Okay, thank you. All right, report from the county administrator. That's you again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Well, I don't know what it is, but it's been incredibly busy over the last few weeks. I'll just go over just a few things. We did get notification that our safety LMIG funding had been approved, so that's $50,000 that we'll be using for safety improvements. And Bill wants to get those signs ordered up, so as soon as the dollars come in, we can start ordering our signs. We're going to put together a list of the roads that need striping, and we'll move forward with that. So glad again. I appreciate what GDOT does and all their participation with us. Fire station, we talked about earlier. I was going to tell you guys Dale. Been dealing with some E&S control. Kathy and I have. We've been down several times, and we're dealing with that matter. Storm damage. I mean, we've had a lot of storm damage, and we've been working on that, looking at the options. I attended the Board of Assessors meeting, the Board of Elections meeting, the Water and Sewer meeting, the Planning Commission meetings, and then I did have an opportunity to talk to GDOT about assistance. We made an application asking them for emergency assistance, and we had about $800,000 worth of calculated cost in terms of making those repairs. I got a call back yesterday morning or the day before that, and they indicated that the GDOT commissioner, because we'd sent it directly to Atlanta, and he had looked at it, and he had approved to give us pipe and materials for the replacement of all these culverts, and that's pretty significant. And I want to clarify with them, Hawthorne and I talked about it yesterday, I want to clarify with them if they consider box culverts, precast box culverts as material. I would, or because it's replacing pipe. And if they do, then we've got several locations that really needs to be what happens. If not, we'll look at the cost and we'll come back and we may just have to replace the pipe, but I'd much prefer to have the box culverts. So, again, I appreciate GDOT's efforts. There are going to be about 3 years over those projects we're going to have to let. We don't have the equipment to be able to get it done. The balance of it, we can certainly work and try to get all those taken care of. Bill and Terrell have already been working on that. I think Bill's already shot some elevations on some of them. So again, we're working on that. We're in the process right now of putting together a detailed list of materials and pipe and cost with everything. So as soon as we get that detail together, we'll be sending that on up to GDOT and asking them to cover that cost. So we were proud again that they would be willing to cover pipe material, because pipe is expensive. I'll give you an example of just one of the pipe that we were replacing in the cove. It's about $15,000 for just one pipe, not all three, but just one section. So you can see what a big commitment this is from GDOT, and we appreciate their assistance.
Is there a way to part of it? Is that one solid pipe, or are they put together? Because I saw the belts.
I think that they're banded together. You get to a point where they're so big, so long, you just can't transport
Because it looked like there was only one section damaged, I may be wrong, dirt was over the rest of it, but is there a way just to replace that part that costs $5,000?
No. I think that the problem with what you're referring to is they rolled down in the section where it is banded, and they crushed in both ends, so it's a little harder than just replacing one, you'd have to replace two. So we're looking at that and our options on what the contractor needs to do there.
How long time do they have to look at that? Because I mean, I know it happened a week ago maybe or whatever, and I went down Monday night to look at it. Of course, nothing, I mean, it still looks the same. So how long time do
We
they
asked them
have?
not to do anything with it until, Bill, you want to come up, talk about the Cove Road? We asked them not to cover anything until we could take a look at it. Now, they were down there yesterday trying to jack them in. They actually rolled a excavator out on it,
I mean, you can tell
and
something went over top of it.
bid it at the,
I got some pictures you caught last week, but one of them will notice, send them a letter that we need to get it either repaired to our satisfaction or replaced. So they're working on that right now, and then I'm gonna go through all the pipes, flashlight, and make sure that everything's intact, and we don't have any holes or anything.
and we even talked about the possibility, Bill was talking about having to maybe cap it with some concrete if we allowed it to
Put concrete on it, then won't that help eliminate that? I mean, I'm not an engineer.
It'll help, the concrete will help, I guess, with the structure.
With the structure and hold it.
And it will seal, because once that pipe's deformed and you don't have a good connection there with the mains, water will infiltrate and eventually it'll undermine it and the road will fail.
And it'll
So,
collapse again.
possibly put concrete over that, make sure it gets a good seal, and maybe even make a bridge beam or something there to support the weak part of that pipe. We could also call, probably Cherokee and have it send somebody out to evaluate.
That'd be great, that'd be a great idea. We did, Bill and I did call the pipe supplier yesterday, and, we checked to see what the turnaround time was, but Bill was just mentioning about having the pipe company come out and check it. I think that would be a really good thing.
Okay.
Because we want to be sure it has that structure.
Well, it needs to be right. I mean, we
It
hope that
does.
we're not going to be dealing with this again there.
We don't want to have to look at Cove Road pipe for the next 50 years.
That's right. That's right.
Set up? Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, the reports from the county commissioners. Commissioner Threadgill?
I have far exceeded my word limit for today.
Thank you, and Commissioner Bray.
I don't have anything. I would like to say I did attend school in Savannah last week, and one of the classes was addressing complex issues, county issues, very beneficial, and I enjoyed the class.
Right. I also attended the ACC training in Savannah. There was a lot of good information there. There's a lot of information on the legislative, and as the legislative representative, I'll bring that to you. Considering that all our meetings are so full, I think what I'll do is put it in writing and then just submit it to the board as a whole. But a couple of things, and one is the new voting machines.
When I have more, I will be happy with it.
Yeah, and I know, and it was just one of those things. Yeah, our Secretary of State did emphasize the importance of the counties being very active and proactive on this. They had not, from that time, they had sent out their RFPs, but they had not got a response back. So the time frame to get these equipment to us is going to be really crucial. So we've got an election coming up in November. I don't know if that's going to be the case that we use those equipment, but next year. But once the equipment come, as we stated earlier, is you're going to have your old and your new. So just having that discussion where you're going to be able to accommodate. And there's a couple of pieces of legislation that passed that will have an effect on the county. And so I'll make sure that I put that in a written form and each commissioner can get it. And then Theron, you can go over some of those things that would have a bigger effect on the county as a whole. Okay? Thank you. That's it for me, Commissioner Hadley.
I have just a couple of things. I typically attend the Keep Merriweather Beautiful meetings, and I had to miss this past Monday, so I don't know what all the totals were from the cleanup, but I do know it was overwhelmingly successful. And I don't know, where do we stand on the tires, or we still cannot take tires? I know we got so many in. You can take them? Have we put that out there anywhere? Because I know the report in the paper said that we would be announcing if we could take any more.
Well, we've been having people still coming by.
Okay. That might be something we could put on our website or the Facebook page that we can still take them.
And I think it's through May the 18th.
Yeah,
Let me check
I think it was
the
18th.
calendar. I think it's 18th. And
But, and I'm sure they probably talked about this on Monday, but we had sites, one in particular, but two that I know where people continue to bring their stuff. And I mean, I was working in Warm Springs and I saw our dump truck go by several times with stuff from the manufacturer. So I don't know how we'll look to address it. Were you at the meeting Monday?
No, ma'am, but we hauled, I think, six loads from Manchester.
Y'all, you just cannot even imagine what it looked like. And they changed out dumpsters that day in Manchester, Dependable Waste did. So if they had not done that, I mean, you just cannot imagine what it looked like over
That's the
there.
first year it was actually like
Yeah,
that.
and I don't know, ideally, if the dumpsters could be behind lock gates, so when the cleanup is over, you lock it, people can't get to it, but we don't have those kind of locations all over the county. I don't know what the answer is, but kudos to your group for doing it, because I think inmates there, the state inmates, Manchester, they're doing some cleanup, so it was a joint effort, but therefore we had to spend, that was on Thursday, after the Saturday cleanup, that they were still hauling. So you see how long it took Public Works time they could have been spending on roads or other things that they had to do that. And 6 dump truck loads, I mean, that is a ton of stuff. So
came right afterwards. I've got some thoughts on how to maybe get some of the other partners to work with us in terms of moving the dumpsters, maybe having the landfill stay open.
Well, and that's another
later.
thing that was brought to attention. They still close at noon on Saturday, so that's something. I know we just need to brainstorm, because people are getting so used to those twice a year cleanups that they're waiting.
They are.
And they're bringing all of their stuff. And I came behind a vehicle Thursday, about to turn on dirt road up there above me, loaded with stuff. I didn't do anything but turn around, and the man had stopped, and I said, please tell me you're not going down this road to dump. He assured me he was not, and if I didn't have to be somewhere, I'd have followed him down this road, because I'm telling you, he was loaded with junk.
Right. Well,
I don't know where else he could have been going, to tell you the truth, but
I do think we get those stations like we're talking about and give somebody a place to take it. Hopefully that will cut down.
yeah. But we just hadn't gotten to that point yet. And another thing I want to mention, and I just want to thank Kathy and her office and Tyrell and the sheriff's office. It was brought to our attention of a enormous dump site. Friday was a week ago, I believe. I mean, they jumped on that thing in no time. And I know it took the people responsible over 3 to 4 hours with heavy equipment to clean all of that up. But I think it was brought to our attention by Talbot County, actually. But those 3 departments, Kathy was on it, I mean, immediately, but she was corresponding with, because it was in my district there. I just appreciate all the work y'all did, because that was a grand mess, and I certainly hope that nothing like that happens again. We had the request about the filming today or whatever, and I just want to say, as the county film liaison, we are getting calls all the time. Did somebody call you yesterday? People wanting to film, and these people were just wanting to do some research or whatever, but they felt like they needed a permit or wanted a permit or whatever. But the calls are coming in, people interested in our area, which is a good thing. Brenda and I had some conversation a couple of weeks ago, maybe now, about getting information out on social media and a website. You know, social media is a double-edged sword sometimes. I mean, people can put out there whatever they want with absolutely no accountability, and I just cannot tell you the amount of lies, there's just no other way to put it, that's out there. But there is a need for us to have a better way to get correct information out there, and I just think maybe putting our heads together about what kind of things to put on there. I noticed somebody put on our social media site about the landfill hours and what you can dump and what's free and that kind of thing, because people had put, in light of our of our cleanup weekend, they had put on there that you couldn't take construction stuff, and none of that's true. It's clearly stated on there that you can take that, again, lots of misinformation, so if we can try to stay a step ahead of it and get it's not gonna stop at all, because some people have absolutely nothing to do but stay on there and put on there
That's what I try to do. I try to scan that stuff out there and see what's in, you're gonna address all of the, but I mean, if you can at least enlighten people that are kind of following some of this, at least set them straight, set them on the right course.
And I mean, I've been really aggravated about it, and I'm sure it shows right now, but we've got so many experts in this county on garbage, litter, inmate, work details, the school system, potholes, cleaning ditches. I don't know where all these folks are, but if they would just come here and help, we could get a lot done, but they are by far the biggest experts. Animal control, you just name it.
They know it.
They have all the answers behind the keyboard.
Maybe we should put their certifications on the website.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, and it's just, it is, that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner McCoy?
Okay, I have a few items that I want to run over. First off, let's clear the air. I have not said, do not intend to say, and do not where this thing came from, that Randall and Company has filed an appeal. I never said that. I know that's going to go out over the YouTube, so maybe more people can hear it. But
That was
anyway,
the subject for Sunday morning.
I don't know why that was such a, I never said that. So anyway, the other thing I want to deal with is Lake Meriwether. I think most of you know we're down to trying to get one other item in under the grant. And as Mr. Bill said a while ago, the ADA overlook there we're working on. We've cleared the trees, we have ground the stumps, Public Works came down and disposed of what tops we had left, stacked the firewood up for the rigs out there that the pit campers can use. And the next thing is to put a pipe in over a little swale we have there, so we'll be able to get over to where we want to put the two parking spots for the people that are going to need them. I mean, it's going to have to be there. So, and getting the pad set up, so we should be able to meet this in our 45 days if we push hard on that. One other thing I was going to bring up was the cotton picking fair. There was quite a turnout down there. I know the weather was not the best in the world. Firstly, I would like to say Sean on Saturday when I was there was doing great. He had 15 animals down there. He had one left as I was leaving the gate, and I think we shamed the last individual standing there into taking that last dog, so we did good on that. Also, the covered bridge, the veterans maintain their station there, and we had quite a few people that traveled out there. And thanks to CJ and Tyrell, I understand you had to help in this, and appreciate what you did there. And they actually took the voice box, or whatever that thing is called, down and had it displayed there. It's just a shame we can't have it down at the covered bridge without some idiot trying to get the coins out of it.
Yes.
They're not there.
Oh, there are no coins there.
There's no coins there.
Why they would even think that, I have no idea. One thing I would like to just mention here briefly is the roads and bridges. I'm getting quite a few calls on that. People are concerned. They want to know more about roads. And the thing that, as Mr. Gay put there, the state has agreed to furnish the materials as far as what we can do on that side of the house. But folks, we still got over $800,000 worth of damage out there. So contractors and what labor we have to put in, that sort of thing, that's still part of the equation that we can't get around. We're going to have to do that. And I don't know what that's going to do for our budget this time, but I don't think great things. The last thing I was going to mention is I've listened and what little bit I picked up from the state there, Patty, on elections. It seems like we've come full circle. Now we have to have a paper ballot that's going to be the file copy or something you can have as a takeaway.
The new system will have a paper ballot.
It seems like to me we're almost back to the point where we could use a number 2 pencil, a paper ballot, and a scanner to take care of the thing. Just a thought, Hattie, don't look at me like that. Not that tone of voice. But anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner McCoy. Report from the county attorney.
All of mine will be executive session.
Okay, thank you.
Personnel, real estate.
So so there will be a need for executive session and all the
Personnel, real estate, and
litigation. Okay, thank you. Now we're at the time of public comment.
if I may, thank you, I'm Irene Munn again here for Keith Summerhour. I have a conflict on the 25th, and Madam Chair, may I request on behalf of Mr. Summerhour that we move his public hearing to your next date in July, if I could do that at this point in time. I'll ease up your schedule for June, if I can do that and make that request, that would be...
That is the one for Jimmy Clark Road?
Yes, ma'am.
We've not advertised that yet. So
We haven't advertised it, so...
You want to do the night meeting in July?
What day is it, July what?
The day meeting or the night?
You'll do it?
I would prefer that night,
Whatever's convenient for
a night
for you
meeting.
guys. If it's the 23rd?
23rd. July 23rd.
23rd, that's my birthday, and I'll be happy to be here.
we may sing happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
I'll postpone Monday, the after.
So we don't have to make a motion or anything on that, just accept it.
Well,
We're good.
Yeah, because you
Because we
actually
said it for the 25th. All right, so,
probably just amend the motion.
Just make a motion with respect, I forgot your client's property's name, just saying.
Summerhour.
Keith's motion to move the Summerhour hearing to whatever day y'all just.
all right, so can I get a motion?
Second.
And there's a second, so there's been a motion and a second to move the road abandonment petition for Jimmy Clark Road, Mockingbird Lane, and Jimmy Road Lane to July the 23rd. Okay. Any more discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion carries. Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Yeah, I'd like to add some comments to your discussion on the recreation. Several times in the past, we've started this process and it kind of gets sidetracked. A couple of years ago, we actually hired a recreation director and it just didn't last. I'd like to see a commitment financially from the county. One, to establish a recreation department, hire a recreation director, give him some kind of minimal staff so we can do something. Otherwise, all these projects you find folks come up with, you're just gonna lay there. It ain't gonna happen unless you hire somebody to do it.
And I'm gonna say, I agree with you, and that actually is part of what I was thinking. Larry, if we get everybody together and we get something, because if you don't have a goal or a plan to go forward to even try, then there's no need to hire anybody, so.
But it's gonna take somebody out there doing the legwork to do it. It ain't gonna happen just because you put out a plan and there it is. I'm probably one of the few people that understand the difference between an authority and a advisory committee and the financial difference between them. And you've got to give that recreation department some sort of revenue stream, or Mary, they can't do a big project. If you don't give them a revenue stream, they can't go out and do a bond and build a big recreation center. So you've got to do some sort of revenue stream. We've got a real good revenue stream that comes from our landfill. Part of it is, what comes to the Water and Sewer Authority, and that's how we finance our things. It would seem a real good idea to take the part of that that's not being designated for something else, and dedicate it to the Recreation Authority, or whatever you decide they are, and let them go with the plan.
And I do want to comment on that too. They did that way back before our time, back in 2002 or whenever. I said 2003, but I was corrected. They did, and even the school board gave money to it, and it failed at that point. I'm not trying to, what I had in mind and the motion that I made was really trying to move this forward. And if we don't all get together and figure it out, it's not going to happen.
But part of that moving forward plan
No, it
has
is,
to
but
be
they tried that back.
somebody out there to do it.
And it didn't work.
With our little tourism group, we found out, we come up with a whole lot of good ideas, but until somebody is the quote champion and takes a hold of it and runs with it, it don't happen. So, it's gonna take a financial commitment, budget-wise, and you've got time to do it. You've got the 3 years, going on with this, 4 years or whatever it is, to
dial it into the budget, dial the recreation director into it, and he's gotta have some sort of minimal staff. You know, when we look at things like out at Lake Meriwether do, and yeah, we come up with these great ideas, but there's no staff to do it.
Money's the bottom line to all of it.
It is, you know.
I mean, it is the dollars, and that's
It's the
why I think
dollars,
we all get together and discuss if the cities can, if we can.
But you got
what's gonna
time now
happen.
to, you got time now to dial it into the budget. You know, you can get it there, you know, it's there. You just gotta, you five folks have gotta make a commitment
Thank you.
financially.
Thank you, appreciate it. Any other comments? If not, we do have a need for an executive session to talk about litigation personnel and what was the other one? Real estate, thank you. The future meetings, as noticed, May the 27th is Memorial Day, so the county office will be closed. May the 28th is a work session at 4:30, and then May 28th is our regular meeting at 6 p.m.
Auditors come in the work session,
The auditors will be at the
work session, 28.
Going to financials, if everybody was given financials, please be sure you bring them back.
They have the auditor's package, and she's asking everyone to read it and bring it back for the 28th meeting. At this time, we're going to go into executive session. Those who would like to stay and, at the end of the executive session, we'll be back. But if not, if you can't stay, then we're going to thank you for attending the meeting. It was quite long today, but we covered a lot.
I'm making a motion.
So I'd like to get a motion that we go into executive session.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, there's been a motion and a second. We're going in executive session at 11:12. And can I get a vote? All in favor? Motion carries. Is there a cell phone? I think it was on my cell phone.